Hello everyone, welcome back. For those who are new, my name is Keri, and today I'm going to be telling you about my top 3 favorite destinations that you have to visit if you ever go on spring break or even in the summer when the weather is warm. Now, the first place I visited was Corfu, Greece. Now, Corfu itself isn't the most popular city or island when it comes to visiting Greece, but it was really pretty. I got to go with one of my really good friends, and the weather was decent when we went. The second place I went is Munich, Germany. Now, we weren't really in the heart of Munich, so we didn't get to do as much as you could if you were to go to actually visit Munich itself, but we also did it through an organization, so we were kind of at like this campground of sorts, and we hit up their Spring Fest, which is just like Oktoberfest but obviously in the spring. And then the last place that I went was Ibiza. That was my last individual trip before my family came, and I always called this like my senior spring break that I never got in high school because of COVID. Now, this was a really fun trip. We also went through another organization, and we were like in probably the best place that you could be because we were by every beach. There was a lot to do downtown, and they had a lot of events for us set up, so it was really great. I'm gonna go through each destination, talk a little bit about the pros and cons, at least when I went there, but you could have a completely different experience. But these are just some things that I noticed, or some things that I really liked, or then other things that I maybe would not do if I were to do it again. So starting off with Greece, I went with one of my friends, and our spring break was like in the beginning of April, so it wasn't really like peak season in Greece. Now, we made the really good, I don't know, good but like not good choice of staying at this place called the Pink Palace Hostel. As you can imagine, it was a hostel that was completely pink. The actual hostel itself was amazing. They had like a yoga room, a little game room. They had even this like auditorium coliseum where they would throw like different parties at night. Because we went during off season, they didn't have any events really. It also did rain basically the entire time we were there, and I think the highest that it hit was like 59 degrees. So on our spring break, we didn't really get to tan as much as we'd hoped or do any like water activities because, you know, Greece in general, Corfu too, was just beautiful. But we were able to go downtown. It was maybe like 30-ish minutes away. We had a taxi driver that was absolutely amazing. She had given me her card the first time that I was heading over to the hostel, and then since then we would just call up her number and she would come pick us up for a really cheap price. But we got to just hang out at the hostel. I think my favorite thing about the Pink Palace Hostel was there were so many stray animals. I wanted to take all of them home with me, but it was just really cute. And then they had this like guard dog on site. His name was Bobby, but everybody pronounced it like Booby because of their accents. But he was really cute. He was like 19, and he would follow you. Like, our hostel was kind of on this hill, so to go down to a couple bars and restaurants on the beach, it was like a big hill, and he was kind of like limping along, but he just like was absolutely adorable. And then me and my friend visited downtown Corfu, and we got to kind of see this castle. It was like a couple bucks to enter, and then you could see Albania in the distance. And then we got to walk around Corfu. We stopped for a couple meals and a couple drinks, and it was on one of the nicer days, so like 55 degrees, but with the sun it was nice out. So that was just a really relaxing place to be. But if it was in season, the hostel would have all these different events that they would hold on site, and it was super close to a beach too. So I think if you went around the right time, they had a ton of pictures on their website where it's just absolutely poppin', and like, you know, everybody was there just having a great time. So overall, Greece was probably like an 8 out of 10. I just wish the weather was a little bit better, but I guess that was just timing. So next, talking about Munich. Munich itself, we didn't get to see a lot of. I know that they had some really cool things like in the actual city of Munich, but we were kind of way off site, like campgrounds, and so it was a lot to even get to the city. But I also went with a couple friends, and we went through this organization called Stoke Travel. They were absolutely amazing. I think that Springfest in general was mainly just a ton of American college kids there. There wasn't a ton of Spanish kids because I think it was more of like an Americanized holiday, because usually it's Oktoberfest, which is really big, but in the spring it's kind of just all the college kids coming for their spring break. But it was really nice because during the days we would go to their Spring Fest, which was really just a family-friendly carnival. I don't know what we were expecting, but none of us were expecting that, but it was really fun. And then they had different beer tents, so you could get, you know, your big pints or whatever of beer and hang out there. We made a ton of great friends, and, you know, got to meet people from all over America. And then they would have their own little like DJ at night where we'd get to kind of dance around around and hang out and could go into the city and you could kind of do whatever you want, but they also did have some events. I think my only thing that I didn't really like about that was we all had these tents. They call them like tents or teepees. So tents were like 2 people and then teepees you could fit like 6 or 8. You had a mattress, which is like this thick of cardboard felt like, and then you had a sleeping bag as well with like absolutely no insulation. Now Munich during the day got up to 70, but at night it could drop down to like literally 30 degrees, and it also rained I think majority of the nights that we were there. Like it was so bad to the point where me and my friends were staying like a couple extra nights and we just like ditched the campgrounds and rented a hostel in the city to stay at because it was just so cold we couldn't bear it anymore. But I met a lot of great friends here too. We had a lot of fun just transporting, because the transportation we would do like buses or trains, but from our campground to the Spring Fest it was, you know, a good 20-30 minutes, and when everybody's had a couple drinks it was just one great experience. But overall the organization was great. Everybody that worked there, you could tell they loved their job, and I think the people definitely made it. We got to dress up in the typical dirndls and the boys wore their lederhosens, so that was also really fun. It was kind of tacky, but since everyone was doing it, it was just really fun to be a part of that. So overall I think Munich was like a 9 out of 10. Really did not like the tent and sleeping situation. There was like a whole mix up, so I ended up getting the tent to myself, so I doubled up on the sleeping bags, but even that did not help, so I cannot imagine people who only had one sleeping bag. But yeah, it was a good experience overall. And then finally for Ibiza, oh gosh, this was like literally what I could have expected for like a makeup senior spring break. The weather was absolutely amazing, so I was happy to kind of make up for that from my actual spring break in Barcelona. We did go like end of April, beginning of May, so it was a lot warmer. This was also through an organization called Yeah Ibiza. They were absolutely terrible, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there's anything that they really did right. There's a lot of like just miscommunication. There were some really not friendly leaders, and it was just a lot of kids complaining about everything. But they did have some events that were really great. We would hop around to different like bars or clubs every night, and then during the day you got to just explore Ibiza. They would have day trips to different islands, so me and my friends went to Formentera, which was this other island, and we just laid at the beach the entire time. We rented bikes, rode them around, got some lunch there, so that was really fun. And then we all were staying in these hotels, which were actually really nice hotels. The package deal that we bought for the entire trip was like, I think it was worth it more or less. There were probably a ton of other fees, providing your own like drinks or food. Like they did give you breakfast and dinner, but half the time there was a lot to it that was like, I don't know, if I would go to Ibiza with my friends again, I definitely wouldn't do it through that organization, even though the price was very desirable. I also met a lot of friends there. This time through this organization, there definitely was a lot more like Spanish kids there. I met people from, you know, Italy, Spain, and then a lot of American people. I think my favorite event that we did was a pool party during the day. There was one moment where they were blowing bubbles everywhere, so like you could not tell the difference between the floor or a pool, and there were a couple pools. It was in the back of a hotel, and I went to go grab a beach ball because there were beach balls flying everywhere, and I stepped off and just fell into the pool, and it was just like everybody just started laughing, and it was just a great moment for me. But Ibiza overall was really fun. I definitely got to lay out in the sun and get tan like I wanted to, and then also got to just hang out with my friends. And like we were done with classes. We had taken an overnight ferry to Ibiza literally the last day that I ended class. So overall I would give Ibiza like a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I don't want to give it a full 10 is because 1, the actual organization was like terrible, and 2, I ended up getting salmonella from God knows what. So that was a really fun experience, because as I had that, we also took a day ferry home, and I was running to the bathroom every 10 minutes. And then my family came 3 days after that, and we hit up Portugal and some other places in Spain, and I was still suffering that because I took longer than I should have to actually go to the doctor and get antibiotics. But that was a great little gift that Ibiza gave me, as well as all the friends and the memories. So anyways, overall, aside from some of the not so great experiences of all these destinations, I definitely would go back and visit them, all of them. Maybe some with the organization, others without. But overall, if you get a group of friends and you have a little bit of money and you want to spend spend time in the sun, I think all of these options are just absolutely amazing. I had a great time, all my friends had a great time, and I even made a ton of new friends that'll last a long time as well. Being able to visit all those places just really gave me a solid end to my study abroad, and it was just kind of like a good closure to have those experiences. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!